Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Right now, are you in fear? Right now. Every moment of your life you're in fear? No.
You will overcome that fear. But the hard part is, you gotta take that first step.
I am deeply motivated by fear.
The fear, by the way, is not a conspiracy. That is real. Everybody like, oh, fear ain't real. Yeah, well, it's easy for you to say. You ain't got any this second.
You face your fears, you become the person you want to be.
To create fear, you have to use excessive imagination.
There's a lot of fear, but I understand what the emotion of fear is. It's a subconscious trigger that causes this feeling that I don't like. And it's a go signal for me, not a stop signal for me.
Everybody doesn't win. And the sooner you wake up to that biology is ruthless, man, then you get a little fear in you. And when you get a little fear in you, you start listening. Because if you're truly afraid, you listen. Let a little fear come in and drive you and motivate you.
My first time I talked, I literally went up and blanked out.
If you're afraid of pull-ups, do pull-ups. If you're in squats, do squats. If you're afraid of public speaking, go speak in public.
Face your fear. It's hard, it's an uphill battle, but I know you can do it. Whatever it is that you want to do right now in your life, you've been sitting on the fence waiting, doubting yourself because you are letting fear control you, just do it. You ain't going to be nowhere until you start taking the first step. Fear is always going to be there. Give yourself the power, and the more you face your fears, the more powerful you become. Champions are made in these moments.
What are you afraid of? What's holding you back? What's putting you in a position that you feel that you can't go on? Do you have this mindset of thinking that because fear is in your way that you're supposed to stop moving? Do you believe that fear has more power than you do? Well, let me remind you something about fear. We all have to experience it. You can't run from it, but you can definitely overcome it. If someone tells you that they're not afraid of anything, make no mistake. As long as you are a human being, we are all afraid of something. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. That doesn't mean that you have to give in to fear. In fact, fear helps you to build character. It brings something else out of you. Just like an animal, just like something that's trying to run away because it's afraid to die or afraid to get itself in a position that it can't get out of. It will fight to the end. So sometimes fear does do a good thing for you because something else comes out of you. It doesn't mean that you are afraid to a point that you're weak, but it ignites something else about survival, about living, about pushing, about thriving. When you go into a room and you're getting ready to take your test or whatever you may be doing in your lifetime or something that you have never done before in your life, and now you are up against a challenge and you're afraid to face that challenge, don't be ashamed of that fear. But you don't let fear control you. You don't let fear dictate your life. In fact, you tell fear, take a break. I got business to take care of. And then when fear decides to show up again, then you tell it to do something else. But you do not let fear tell you what to do. Let it do what it needs to do, but you do what you have to do. Do not let these things that surround you put you in a position that you feel you can't carry on. Don't be afraid to fail. You may have often heard this from many people from time to time. Failing. I don't like to fail. I never fail. Yes, you do. We all fail at something. And you shouldn't be afraid of it. Many people will tell you that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you build. There's nothing in this world that is perfect. Everything that exists has some kind of a flaw in it. And whether you're worried about what people think of you because you fail at something, or because you're afraid of what people are going to think about you because you're not good at something, make no mistake that these people that are putting you in a position to think less of yourself, they may have the same circumstances going on in their life with something that you're better at and they're not. That's what makes us unique. So don't let fear control your life. Overcome the fear. Overcome it and understand it that all you got to do is just keep moving. Nothing behind you is going to help you. Everything in front of you is where you need to be. The thing about success that is limitless. And when you feel that you have reached a level, go a little bit further. When you allow fear to say that you're not worthy or you're not capable of doing something, then you have already given up because you're afraid. There are many different shapes and sizes when it comes to fear. People are afraid of everything that's out here. In certain areas, forms, and fashions, we all fear something. I fear it, you fear it, we all fear something, but that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're worthy less of something. It means that you got work to do. That means you got something to work on. That means you got to work on overcoming this particular fear factor. And you need to push yourself a little bit harder and understanding that you can do it. Don't let fear control your life. Don't let fear tell you what to do. Don't let fear put you in a position that you feel that, hey, I'm done, and you just throw your hands up and you want to quit. Let fear do what it needs to do, and you just do what you gotta do.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again. Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
I don't have a relationship with God because I'm afraid of burning in hell. I have a relationship with God because He helps me in my day-to-day living. I have a relationship with God because if there is an eternal place to go live, I want to go see it. I figure, as long as I ain't trying to step on nobody to get to where I'm going. Look, you all gonna make mistakes. Everybody's a sinner in here. Everybody in here broken. Everybody need help. I need help. I'm broken. You need God fixing you some kind of way. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you got. You need God. But listen to me. Don't you understand that that's okay? It's all right to have a relationship with God. Having a relationship with God is really cool. And you're looking at a street dude telling you this. But He changed people, God changed people. If you followed my career any length of time, from the time I was back on the Steve Harvey Show, all the way up through the Kings of Comedy, all the way up to 2005, you saw what my life was. But after 2005, He came and He got me. Because He got sick of me, and I got sick of me. See, you know what happened to me in 2005? I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was so sick of me. Y'all saw me on TV, y'all saw this money I was making. I was miserable, man. I was at my unhappiest point in life all the way up to 2005. I was miserable. We was Kings of Comedy. The only time I had a good time was when I was on stage. The only time I had a good time, I was in front of the camera. I was with Sid and the boys, we was performing. When I got off that stage, my life was miserable. I was in a pain you would not believe. I was in an abyss, man. I was in a dark place. How in the world did I get here? I got here because of God's grace. My plight had overtaken me, and I was about done. But right when you think you're about done, don't He always show up? Can you name me one single thing God ain't brought you through? Can you name it? If He ain't brought you through it, He's currently pulling you through it right now. And you know how I know that's real? Because you're sitting in here. The God I serve, you can't put no limitations on him. If you just get out the way, he can show you something. He do miraculous things all the time. Why would you not want one of them miracles to happen for you? I'm sitting here, for me to be here today, the dude that I was, it's a miracle. We pray little prayers. We pray stuff that we see a way to get. You supposed to pray for stuff you can't see no way how you can get it. God is in the make your dream come true business. God is in the get your life together business. God is in the forgiving business. Don't let nobody fool you, man. Don't let nobody fool you. Don't forget to pray. Don't be ashamed to pray, and don't ever be too proud to pray, because prayer changes things. Prayer changes people too.
God said, I got 7,000 that I could use. I choose to use you, but I got 7,000 who are doing what you're doing. But just because they don't do it exactly like you're doing it, how arrogant of you to think that you're the only one right and the only one left and the only one I'm talking to and the only one sincere and the only one going to heaven. Your perception is all seer. You can't see correctly. You've gone blind. If there were only one thing that we could heal today, it would be the blindness of leaders who think they are the only ones left. And now they're in this predicament, and he's come to this point, and he's up under the juniper tree, and the real truth of the matter, he's tired. And when you get tired, you get cynical and critical and evil, and you think you're called to be the police of the church and straighten everybody out because you're the only one left. And really the only thing wrong with you is that you're tired and you're burnt out, and your love is gone. Your love is gone. Your love is gone. And you're representing a God that is love, and you have no love. And he's gotten up under the juniper tree, and he's exhausted, and he falls asleep. He needed some rest. He needed some time off stage. He was burnt out. He didn't know it. He'd been running like crazy. You got to be here at 4 o'clock. You got to be there at 7:30. Hurry up and get dressed, honey. I'm waiting for you in the car. Hurry up, get the key. We got to go. Busy. Running faster than horses, chariots of fire, going at it. And now he's up under the juniper tree. He's worn out. And God has sent angels to minister to him. God has been a feed him. He has not been fed. He is a feeder who has not been fed. Oh, I'm fed, bless God. I spend 5 days a week studying the Word of God, just as you're studying the Word of God that when you're being fed. Because a lot of times you're studying the Word of God to feed somebody else. You're cooking, baby. You're not eating. Everybody else is being fed. Can you imagine how they left Mount Carmel talking about, woo, glory to God, woo, and people just go home all excited, and the man of God, look at how different. They come off the mountain excited about God. He comes off the mountain exhausted. It costs you a lot to be available to people here and blessing people and them leaving refreshed and excited costs you a lot. And it is so crazy because the more effective you are at sending them home blessed and motivated, excited, the more likely you are to go home depleted because you gave them your courage. They left encouraged. You went home discouraged because they got all the milk out of you.
When I was facing some challenges, I had a guy say something to me, and I suggest this is one of the first things that you want to do when you're facing a challenge. You want to get unstuck. Evaluate where you are. Look at it. Assess yourself. Assess yourself and assess the situation. What brought you there? What role did you play? Earl Nightingale had a saying I like. He said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. What has brought you to this point? What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything, or are you doing it over and over and over again? Somebody said that insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Because it's not going to leave you until you grow through it. I was going through a major challenge in my life that was wearing me out, that was using me. And one of my students told me in a class that I was teaching, Lessons in Truth, she said, Les, until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face. And it stayed there a long time.
So I will always be grateful for meeting someone who made a difference in how my life worked out. I am sure if Mr. Schoaf were still alive, I would have called him one more time today and thanked him for sharing the ideas and inspiration that changed my life. For many years, I shared this philosophy for wealth and happiness with my business partners and met with equally exciting results. I am primarily a businessman, not a professional public speaker, but I have been intrigued with the challenge of trying to put into words the ideas that can make a difference in how a person's life works out. And now I have the chance to share these ideas with you. I don't claim to have all the answers on how to do well, but I do have some answers that have worked extremely well for me and thousands of others. Take these ideas and edit them all you wish. You certainly don't have to buy everything any one person says, but give me a chance. If something sounds good, try it. If it doesn't make sense, discard it. Remember, don't be a follower, be a student.
Everything in our life is controlled by 3 decisions. And those 3 decisions I'd like you to look at today because I really want to deliver for you. I didn't come here to do a speech. I love Mark dearly. I really want to serve you, and you all are giving the greatest gift you have, your time. You get your money back, but you can't get your time back. And so I really want to serve you, and I think one of the most powerful things we do to serve you is have you become clear of what the controlling force is that's controlling the quality of your life. And you and I both know it's not the amount of money in your pocket, it's not who you know, it's not even what you've been through. It's really the decisions you make moment to moment about a couple of different things. The 3 decisions I made in that moment that I'd like to pull your attention to just real quick are, in this moment you're making these 3 decisions, by the way. The first one is, what are you going to focus on? And that day, my father focused clearly on the fact that he had not taken care of his family. And whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. In fact, many of us in this room, hope you ever focused on something, you were thinking something horrible was going to happen, you experienced the pain of that failure or that challenge in your life, and then it never ever happened. You've got this experience, say, and if things aren't bad in your life, you can always think of shit that hasn't even happened yet and feel bad in advance. Many people do. Because whatever you focus on, you'll feel. Write it down. Focus equals feeling, because when you start to take control of your focus, you take control of your life. But that day, he focused on the fact that clearly he failed his family, and that was the meaning. The second decision you make is, what does it mean? As soon as you look at something, think about something, focus on it, you gotta say, what does this mean? Is this the beginning or the end? Is this punishment or reward? Is God trying to hurt me or trying to challenge me? Or is this nothing to do with God? I was just being a lazy bastard. Right? The meanings we give to things control our life. If you think it's the end of a relationship, are you going to behave the same way as you think it's the beginning of a relationship? In the beginning of a relationship, when you're totally in love with someone, what will you do for them? Tell me, what will you do? Oh, come on, guys. What will you do when you're totally in love? Shout out, what will you do? What? What? Make the sound of what it's like when you're totally in love, out of your mind. Just go ahead and make that sound like a primal sound of what that feels like. Just go for it so we get some energy in this room. It's been a long time for some of you, I can see really clearly. Let's try this time. How about totally in love and passionately desiring this person? Like you can't wait to touch them, make love to them, be with them. Make the sound of what that would be like. Go ahead, nice and loud, go ahead. So when you have the meaning that this is the beginning of the relationship and this person's the most incredible thing, and you will do what for them? What will you do? Anything. What if you were that way with your client? What if you're that way with your internal customers, because your partners? You go, well, at the end, we'd have real sexual problems with HR. That would be the real challenge. But if your commitment was the same, when you're in that place you do anything in the beginning of a relationship, if your partner said, would you take out the trash? What do you say? Take out the trash. Happily. But after about 7 days or 7 weeks or 7 months or 7 years or 70 years, one day someone said, we take out the trash. Go, what do I look like? Your janitor? What happened to our passion? I'll give you a clue. If you want a relationship to last, if you think it's coming to the end, do what you did in the beginning of the beginning. Because when you think it's the beginning, you behave differently than the end.
You get pushed around all the time. And just because you hang around other dudes like you who also get pushed around all the time, it's not normal and it's not okay, and you need to change. You with me on that? Yeah, funny guy just shifted, didn't he? So I didn't come here to entertain you today. I came here to set the stage. You need to quit playing around. The world is monkeying with your family, and you let them. And there was a time in your life when you were a little girl where you knew you were going to do something great with your life. You were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. There was some point, some time in your life, you knew you were special. You knew you were supposed to do something great with your life. You knew you were going to make a difference in the world. Somewhere along the line, life started happening, a setback here, someone teased you at school, a divorce, you got into a career someone else picked for you, whatever it is, and you started to settle. You start to make excuses. You start hanging around people just like you, and they make it okay. Then you meet Kent. Then you meet this group. Now you're learning stuff, so the heat's on, man. How many of you have kids? Okay, yeah, grandkids, anybody? Awesome. You know, like when you go to your kids' plays at school, and there's 40 kids kids up there for the Christmas recital, who do you see? Who do you see? You don't see the other 39 kids. You're looking right at your kid, aren't you? You go to a baseball game or a soccer game for your kids, you see the other kids, but who do you watch the whole damn time? Your little one, don't you? Yes or no? I got news for you. Listen, kids are doing the same to you. They're watching you, and they're going to get to an age where they figure out who you really are. Your grandkids will figure out, they'll always love you, Grandma. They love their mama. But you get to an age in life where you figure out who they are, don't you? Think about your own parents. You love them, but you know who they are. You know whether they've changed the world. You know whether they've done something great. You know whether they just exist. Your kids are going to figure you out someday, man. Sooner than you think, too. And it ain't good enough. You can be anybody you want to be. Really, Dad? Then how come you're not? You can accomplish anything in the world you want, sweetheart. Well, why haven't you, Mom? They're watching you. I don't deliver a normal message. I love you. I'm here to shake you up and get you to remember what I say today. Because this information goes nowhere if you don't separate yourself by leveraging the pain of where you are or the pleasure of where you're going, and you best get in a damn hurry.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Here's the big challenge of life. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. I have found in my experience that income does not far exceed personal development. Now, sometimes income takes a lucky jump, but sure enough, unless you grow out where it is, it'll usually come back where you are. Life has strange ways. If somebody hands you $1 million, best you become a millionaire quickly, so you get to keep the money. Otherwise, sure enough, it'll disappear. Somebody once said, if you took all the money in the world, divided it up equally among everybody, it would soon all be back in the same pockets. Incredible. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting? The major question to ask on the job is, what are you becoming? So the big question is not what am I getting paid here? The big question is what am I becoming here? Because true happiness is not contained in what you get. Happiness is contained in what you become. Now here's the first lesson of economics. Everybody should learn it from the time they're old enough to understand what a dollar means, how to earn one, how to get one, how to keep one, what to do with it. First lesson of economics. We primarily get paid for value. That's lesson one. Bringing value to the marketplace, that's how you get paid. You don't get paid for the time. I know it takes time to bring value to the marketplace, but you get paid for the value, not the time. Now, since that's true, here's one of the key questions of the evening. Is it possible to become twice as valuable at the marketplace and make twice as much money in the same time? Could you become 3 times as valuable? Make 3 times as much money in the same time? Is that possible? The answer is yes, if. And it's always if, right? Life is known as the big if. Harry Truman once said, life is iffy. How true. And here's the big if we're going to consider it tonight. It's possible to do much better at the marketplace if you go to work primarily on yourself. People have asked me for the last 24 years, how do you develop an above average income? And the answer is, become an above average person. Develop an above average handshake. Some people want to be successful, they don't even work on their handshake. As easy as that would be to start on. They let it slide, they don't understand. Develop an above average smile. Develop an above average excitement. Develop an above average interest in other people. Develop an above average intensity to win. See, that'll change everything. Probably one of the most frustrating experiences in life is looking for an above average job with above average pay without becoming an above average person. It's called frustration. And Mr. Schoaf gave me probably the greatest clue he gave me when I first met him. He said, Jim, if you want to be wealthy and happy the rest of your life, just learn this lesson well. He said, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. For things to change for you, you've got to change. Otherwise, it isn't going to change. And whether I'm talking to high school kids or business executives, my message is always the same. And it goes like this. The only way it gets better for you is when you get better. And see, that's how life gets better for you. Not by chance, but by change. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. See, that triggered my whole life change. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. That's the key. Take full responsibility for what happens to you. It's one of the highest forms of human maturity, accepting full responsibility. It's the day you know you've passed from childhood to adulthood, the day you accept full responsibility. And another note, learn to reap in the fall without apology. Without apology if you do well, and without complaint if you don't. That's maturity. It's not what happens that determines the quality or the quantity of your life. It's not what happens. And the reason is because what happens to about everybody. No different. The sun went down on all of us last night. A common event, a happening. And I found out that the same things can happen to two different people. One gets rich and one stays poor. Why is that? It's because it's not what happens, but rather it's what you do that changes everything. So that's a key phrase. It's not what happens, it's what you do. What happens is about the same. You might put that in parentheses here. Same. What people do, that's what's different. Somebody says, yeah, but you don't understand the disappointments I've had. Come on. Everybody's had their share. Disappointments are not special gifts reserved for the poor. Everybody has them. The difference is what you do about it. It's not the weather. I used to blame the weather, and I discovered it rains on the rich. So see, that won't help. Two men wake up one morning, there's a rainstorm on. One of them looks out his window, sees the rainstorm, and he says, wow, what a storm. With weather like this, they can't expect you to go out and make sales. He stays home. Same morning, the other guy looks out his window, sees the same storm, says, wow, what a storm. But he says, you know what, with weather like this, what a great day to go out and make sales. Most everybody will probably be home, especially the salesman. See, that's the difference in how your life works out. It's not what happens, it's what you do. So here's one of the key questions of the evening. Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do that'll make a change in your life's direction? Good question. What are you going to do starting tomorrow that'll make a difference? Now see, if you don't do something starting tomorrow that'll make a difference, guess what? It's gonna be the same. And see, that way you can guess what the next 5 years are gonna be like. Look at the last 5. Because the next 5 are gonna be like the last 5 unless you, major key, tomorrow, change it all. Or change a little, or change something, or don't change. It's choice time. You can do whatever you want. But it's nice to know any day you wish you can change your whole life. What can you do starting tomorrow that'll make a difference? Good question. What can you do with economic chaos, massive disappointment? What can you do with a broken heart? What can you do when it won't work? Good question. So if I had a word with you tonight, one-on-one, just you and me, I think my personal advice to you would be, reach down inside of you and come up with some more of those remarkable human gifts. They're there, waiting to be utilized. And then change anything for you you want to change. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. If you don't like how it is for you, change it. If it doesn't suit you, change it. If it doesn't please you, change it. If it isn't enough, change it. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. See, you don't ever have to be the same again after tonight, only by choice. Major step to human progress, discipline. If there's one thing to get excited over, that's it. Get excited over your ability to make yourself do the necessary things. What could you make yourself do starting tomorrow that would change it all? No! Tell him. Now, see, that's exciting. On any given day, you can massively change the direction of your life. Murder is a clear example that any one person on any given day can forever alter the course of their life. It just happens to be a negative act. But just as sure as you can commit a negative act, you can also commit a positive act and forever alter your life. Whenever you wish. Now that's exciting. And whatever that act might be that changes your life. The guy finally takes a shotgun to his car and blows out every window, destroys every tire, puts 100 rounds in this shabby old thing. And he says, I have driven this embarrassing thing for the last time. And not only will I never drive it again, nobody else will ever drive it again. And he lets that shuddering thing stand there for a while as a monument to the day he said, today my life changes. Now who can do that? Anybody. When can you do it? Whatever day you pick. Now here's the key to discipline. Start with the little disciplines, get excited over the little disciplines, and get right on those because those will lead to the big ones. You can't handle the big challenges in life unless you take on the little ones. Make a list of all the things you can do, get right on those. Find out how things work. The first key to doing better is find out. To change your life, really, you need ideas. There isn't anything an idea can't change. And Schoaf taught me the major problem is lack of an idea, not a problem. At first, I didn't have any money. I said to Mr. Schoaf, I don't have any money. He said, that's not a problem. Now, see, up until then, I always thought it was. Right? I was confused. He said, no, the problem is lack of an idea on how to create money and wealth. It isn't lack of money, it's lack of ideas. So if you get the ideas, see, you can change anything. Now, to get ideas, you need a constant study of finding out. Now, Schoaf also said, when you find out something that works, put the information in your journal. Don't use your head for a filing cabinet. Put it in your journal so that you can do the next best thing. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Go over it. And if you repeat it, go over it, sure enough, someday, some mysterious day, the idea takes root, starts to grow, and shows up in your bank account, and your dress, and your personality, and your lifestyle. But capture the ideas in your journal. Find out how things work. Shof gave me this word for my life change. He said, study. Great word. If you wish to be successful, study success. If you wish to be happy, study happiness. If you wish to be wealthy, study wealth. Don't leave it to chance. Make it a study. Some people just go through the day with their fingers crossed. See, that won't do it. You've got to study the things that can change your economic, social, spiritual, personal life. Now, here's a qualifying phrase. And we'll have several of these qualifying phrases throughout the seminar. Here's the first one. You may not be able to do all you find out. I understand that. You may not be able to do all you find out, but you should find out all you can do. See, you don't want to wind up at the end of your life and discover that you've lived only 1/10 of it. And the other 9/10 went down the drain. Not for lack of opportunity, for lack of information. Become a good reader. All of the successful people I know and work with around the world, they're all good readers. Curiosity drives them to read. They gotta know. They just read. Become a good reader. Now that's my opinion. Listen to the other lecturers and listen to me and make up your own mind. Don't be a follower. Be a student. Okay? I say, really, for life change, you gotta read. One way to learn is from your own experiences, but another way to learn is from other people's experiences. See, one book might save you 5 years if you read it. Did you know there's books on how to be stronger, more decisive? Be a speaker, be a leader, have a better effect on other people, develop your personality. Did you know there's books on that? And people don't read them? How would you explain that? And they can read. Did you know that hundreds of successful people have written their stories in books and they wrote down how they did it and people don't read it? How would you explain that? The guy's busy, I guess. You know, you get tied up. The guy says, well, yeah, you work where I work, but the time you struggle home, it's late. You got to eat a bite of supper, watch a little TV, get to bed. You can't sit up half the night reading. And the guy's behind on his car payment. Good worker, hard worker, sincere. But you got to be better than sincere and work hard. Otherwise, at the end of your life, you'll wind up cold, stony broke. You got to be better than a good worker. You got to be a good reader. To the pessimist, the glass is always half empty. To the optimist, the glass is half full. Why would the same measure affect people two different ways? Answer: it all depends on how you look at it. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most. There's a subject we don't have time to get into tonight called better thinking habits. One of the major things Shof taught me when I met him, he said, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. And Shof taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. He quoted me a Bible phrase that says, as you think, so you become. How awesome. When he talked about poor thinking habits, he had me. I used to start the day reading the morning newspaper. I mean, you can believe that or not. I'd get a cup of coffee and read the paper. I'd load up on wars and riots and murders and stabbings and killings and bank robberies and muggings and car wrecks and tragedies. I'd even read the back pages. I seem to like that stuff for some weird reason. I'd load up on all that, and then I'd start the day. You can imagine the kind of days I used to have. You walk around on your financial knees. They call you economic peewee. The guy says, I want to be a great leader. Wonderful. The first thing we do is follow him to his house. When we get there, we walk in and check his library. Number one. Somebody says, well, why check his library? The reason is because what a man reads pours massive ingredients into his mental factory, and the fabric of his life is built from those ingredients. You would not believe what some people have got in their house to read. You would not believe. One of the best dressed up words I know for a lot of it is trash. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can be done. You might as well try making a cake with cement. The kids back in Danbury, Connecticut, high school, they're asking me questions one day. I'm talking to the kids. Kids got good questions these days. One of them said to me, Mr. Rohn, how do you build the good life? I said, it's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's how you build anything. Select the right ingredients, keep out the wrong ingredients, and it starts with thought. Everything starts with thought. So you must be wise and careful what you think about, because that starts everything. You got to be wise and careful. I asked the kids, what would happen if somebody dropped sugar in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be okay. I said, what if somebody dropped strychnine in my coffee? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson 1. Life is both sugar and strychnine. You gotta be careful. I said, what if my worst enemy drops in the sugar? They said, will you be okay? I said, what if my best friend, even by accident, drops in the strychnine? They said, well, you'd be dead. I said, correct. Lesson 2, watch your coffee. You got to be careful. See, it doesn't matter who hands you the bad stuff. It doesn't matter where you get the bad stuff. It'll still do its damage on your bank account, wherever you get it. Mr. Schoaf gave me one of the greatest phrases when I first met him when he said, Jim, every day stand guard at the door of your mind. How important. Stand guard at the door of your mind. And you decide what goes into your mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want to in your mental factory, because you've got to live with the results.